In this video, I'm going to break down what it actually takes to become a product manager in 2026, how the role has changed, what hiring managers now look for, and what you should focus on if you want to stand out in today's market. I'm Sam, I am an experienced product manager, but I also hire new team members. I lead a team of 10 to 15 people today who work in product roles. And I want to talk to you about what it means to be a product manager in 2026, what's changed, and how you can prepare yourself best to get a new job in this space. By the end of this video, you'll understand how the product management role has changed in 2026. What are the most important skills or mindsets for you going forward? And what are some practical tips to help you start into a new product management role or grow your career? If you want to become a product manager this year, you've probably noticed that the advice online is a bit outdated or contradictory. Look, I've been working as a product manager for over a decade and I regularly hire new employees. And so what I want to give you today is not some advice on what did product managers do 5 years ago, nor what does it say in a textbook, but actually what are companies thinking about today? What do they really look for when they're hiring new product managers? The first thing to understand is the product management role has changed and the market around it has changed too. Hiring is tighter than it was a few years ago. There are fewer roles, but the expectation on each individual product manager are higher. Organizations tend to be flatter, teams are leaner, and there's less tolerance for people who just run processes. In 2026, product managers are expected to be much more outcome focused. Less about owning a backlog, more about owning results. And that means tying what you're working on to real life adoption, retention, revenue, or efficiency, not just shipping features. The role is also becoming more full stack. That means that you're expected to know a lot more. How do you think about customer discovery, analytics, data, and also how products actually get to market, not just what is built? And influence matters more than ever. There are fewer layers of management, and that means you don't win by just having authority or hiding behind a framework. You win by showing your judgment, your clarity, and your communication. So with that context, let's talk about what actually matters if you want to break into product management this year or level up your skills in 2026. One thing I feel really strongly about is this. You still need to master the basics. How we actually deliver products, things like Agile, might feel a bit like old news. People aren't talking about it anymore. But that's because that knowledge is assumed. People expect you to understand what Agile is and how it works and what frameworks you can use. Agile isn't about stand-ups, Jira tickets or ceremonies. At its core, it's about learning faster, reducing risk, and not waiting 6 months to discover whether you've built the wrong thing. Whether you're working with Scrum or Kanban or scaled frameworks like Less or Safe, they're all trying to solve the same problem. That is, make sure you are delivering valuable work often and getting feedback so you can adjust along the way. Let me let you into a little secret. When I'm hiring, I don't actually care what frameworks you prefer. What I care about is that you understand the principles of Agile underneath and that you can adapt to the organization or the product or project that you're on to make sure that you deliver value fast. The next point is probably the most important one for me personally. The best product managers or aspiring product managers think like they are running a small business, not just working through a to-do list. Most of the time in product, no one's going to give you some neat problem statement. Things are messy. The context is incomplete. There is a lot of complexity and uncertainty. And so what I'm looking for when I hire a new product person is for someone that can take ownership and they can ask certain questions. What's actually going on here? What's the real problem? What's causing it? What options do we have? And what are the trade-offs? In my experience, skills can be learned, tools can be taught, but that mindset, thinking about the outcomes, being self-empowered and driven to make sure you get answers and you solve problems, that's so much harder to teach. And so it's what I look for when I'm looking to hire someone new in a product role. Another big change that's happening in product management in 2026, and I can't believe it's taken me this long to mention it, is of course AI. And it's not just changing the products that we're building, it's actually fundamentally changing how our role works. AI is increasingly becoming a co-pilot for product managers. This helps us synthesize user research, draft product documents, analyze data, and it reduces a lot of the manual overhead in the job. At the same time, many products now include AI features, which means PMs need enough understanding to scope realistic capabilities and challenge when there are vague or overpromised ideas. The key tip here is don't try to become the AI expert, but do look to use AI in your day-to-day work, whether that's experimenting with how to use it for research or designing, developing new product ideas, or maybe assessing what customers are saying about your product. If that's something that's interesting to you, then make sure you subscribe to this channel because I am doing a lot of experiments with different AI tools and working out how I can use them as a product manager day to day. So make sure you subscribe to follow along for the journey. Even as new technologies appear, one thing that hasn't changed and never will change for product managers is being relentlessly user obsessed. Whether your users are external users or internal teams, you need to understand what they do day to day, what they're trying to achieve, where their pain points are and what the opportunities are. And it's only through doing that that you'll really get to make sure you design and build brilliant products. Design thinking is a great mindset for this, but you don't always need a workshop to really understand what your users need. Sometimes you can just sit with them or observe them, run interviews with them, analyze the data of how they're interacting with your tool or your software. That way you can really understand their behavior and work out what to do next. In my view, the best product decisions come from when you combine what the business needs with what users really want, desire, and what's going to help them. And that's the kind of skill set, the mindset that I'm looking for when I hire a new product manager. So if you are serious about becoming a product manager or improving your skills as a product manager this year, then here are some practical tips that I want to give you. First, show that you can think and act like a product manager. Even without the title, own a real problem end to end, whether that's a side project or an internal tool or something that you're trying to improve in your current role, but be able to clearly explain the problem, the users, and why you made the decisions you did. Second, focus on outcomes, not features. In a tighter market, hiring managers care far more about impact, adoption, usage, learning, than about the things that you've shipped. And third, demonstrate strong fundamentals. You don't need to recite frameworks, but you should be comfortable explaining how you prioritize, deliver incrementally, and adapt based on feedback. And finally, practice telling clear product stories. Interviews are as much about showing how your judgment works and how you communicate. So explain what the decisions were that you made, what trade-offs you made, and how you got to great outcomes. That will really help you stand apart and show off your great skills. I really hope that this video helps you, and if you did find it useful, please give it a like and maybe think about subscribing to the channel. I use this channel to talk about my experience in product management, but also how I'm experimenting with AI and other tools to make me even better going forward. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, please subscribe and follow along. Product management in 2026 is harder in a lot of ways than it ever used to be. However, it can be so rewarding if you get it right. And that is essentially down to you. Can you make sure you can master the fundamentals, think like a business owner, leverage AI wherever you can, but stay user-centered? If that happens, then you will stand out in a crowded market. Good luck to you, and I'll see you on the next one.